Spencer Mandel here with Maine Media. We're here at this awesome little waterfall we found in Phippsburg. I'm gonna throw the wide angle lens on and get nice and close, see what we can find. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna walk around this scene for a couple minutes with my trusty Fuji X-T3 and just sort of frame up and shoot a bunch of different shots. Use my flip out screen, that's been super handy lately, get nice and low, and just really work this scene until I find a composition that I like. Then I'll pull out my 5D and set up the tripod and see what we can get. I think I'm gonna try this. Use the edges of these two rocks. They're covered in white foam to lead you up through the waterfall. I was here the other day and I framed in these three rocks as my foreground, but then lost the waterfall because of the rock. So, and this one, I can see the waterfall all the way up. So I think I'm gonna try to frame that up. We'll see what happens. As you can see, I've placed myself right in the river. I've set up my tripod right in the water, sort of gotten nice and low to the ground. Got my trusty wellies on, always a good idea to have a pair of those. I've used, there's some foam collecting around these rocks, and I've used some of the foam. It's a nice hard contrast against the green to lead your eye right up through the waterfall. And yeah, it's a really great composition. I was here the other day and I didn't really get anything I liked. The light wasn't really ideal. The greens weren't popping as much as I wanted them to. And we've come back today. It seems to be a little more overcast, not as much light. It's just now starting to rain. So we'll get this shot and we'll try to move on to a different composition before it gets too wet. The other thing I'm gonna do with this photo is focus stack. Because I'm so close to my foreground subject, there's so much depth of field in there that I'm gonna focus on the rocks, I'm gonna focus on the midground, and I'm gonna focus on the waterfall right up there, and then blend those together in Photoshop later. So everything is tack sharp front to back. Now that I've got the camera and the tripod set up in the water here, I just want to go over my settings. I'm shooting just over 1 second exposure, f11, ISO 100 on the Canon 5D Mark IV with a 16-35. I got a polarizer on the front here to cut the glare off some of the water and some of the rocks, gives me a really dark, contrasty shot. And then also I put a 2-stop hard edge graduated filter on here just to cut some of the light that's leaking through the trees over there. So Next, we'll go over what I'll do for focus stacking. So now that I've got my camera, my tripod set up, I got my exposure dialed in, got my polarizer, my graduating filter on here. Next thing I want to do is focus stack. Because I'm shooting such a wide angle lens and I'm so close to my foreground subject and I'm so far from my background subject, then I want to focus stack so I make sure everything is tack sharp from front to back. So let's do that process now. The first thing I'm going to do is focus on the closest point in my frame, which is the point of this rock down here. That looks nice and tack sharp. Zoom back out, we'll take a shot. Next spot I want to focus is about halfway up this frame. We're going to use that rock right there. That looks about right. And take another frame. The next one is going to be all the way up at the top of the frame. Focus on these rocks. Nice and tack sharp. And we'll take another frame. And then I'll blend those three in Photoshop later. Yep, raining pretty good now. Quick because it's starting to rain, but we've come up out of the water onto the ground. I still have a vertical composition, but I put my 24 to 105 on. I'm in at about 70 mil. I'm at around 1/8 of a second, f11, ISO 100, put my polarizer back on. I got my trusty rag to keep the raindrops off. It's hard to keep that lens dry, but other than that, this looks like a great composition. Super happy. The waterfall's nice and symmetrical right in the middle of the frame. I got a rock to anchor it at the bottom. It's a really cool shot, so let's shoot this. We got 2 photos. It's starting to rain really hard, so our time here is done. If you like what you saw in this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.